Hello and welcome to Security on Screen. Today's all about Intersec, and I'm joined by one of the conference speakers, Malcolm Smith, who's a senior executive from the Haffa consultancy based in Doha. Thank you for joining us today, Malcolm. Indulge me, what are you looking forward to the most about Intersec 2026?
Thanks for that. So I think with Intersec, I've been now invited on a few occasions, and what I found is my key is transferring of knowledge. And I've been a volunteer, I would say a serial volunteer for that matter, with the ASIS. And ASIS as an industry, in collaboration with like Intersec and others, the main focus is advancing the profession through education. And that's one of the key things that Intersec also provides. Bring together, same minds, thought leaders within industry, of course, security and fire, and really share knowledge, show the best practice and technologies. So that's, for me, it's a valid contributor. And also a consumer, because I also consume what's on the floor and what others have to say.
So it's got a practical element to it for you as well, that you can see new products, new technologies, you can talk to commercial providers as well as you can talk to thought leaders in your own peer group.
It's the journey of continuous learning. So, when you walk the floors, you get get new ideas. All the technologies is out there. You bump and you rub shoulders with fellow professionals. Again, sharing new ideas, best practice. You walk away there with a wealth of experience. So that's the key about the Intersect conference.
Thank you, Malcolm. Moving in then to pick up on some of the detail of the work that you're doing, one of the things that I noted that's significant in your career is that you've overseen one of the most culturally significant and logistically complex mega projects in the region. How has the Alula unique environment shaped your approach to embedding security innovation from concept and design through long-term operations?
I want to first start, answering the question of that conversation innovation. What I've experienced when having a conversation around the table with peers, like-minded leaders, the first thing that comes to mind, or let's call it the majority of the conversations, is driven by technology, or it's just, about AI, drones, and so forth. For me, it's not only that. Yes, technology as part of innovation do play a critical enabling role. But that's not where, because I've also seen that technology innovation not necessarily, give the best result. So overinvestment in technology only will give you a portion of what you would like to achieve. There's another dimension that I normally see, because such projects, as you rightly stated, they are complex. There's a lot of moving parts. It's high visibility. It's politically sensitive. It's socioeconomic. It's strategic. And a breakdown in any area carries wider consequences. So this is what I found. Effective boards for these giga projects, and this is what the law also had, really sets the tone by the project. A giga project is only successful from the governance perspective. So, and that's where also the innovation comes from, because the board will ask that critical questions and also provide the direction where this giga project must go to, because it's about really stakeholder needs that we need to compile. So embedding innovation in security starts with purpose. It starts with purpose. So why does the security function exist on this giga project? Similarly, Yak and Alula, why does it exist? Is the security system truly designed to enable strategic vision and ambitions? Another question to ask. Another one to ask is, how does people think and behave? Now, let me give you an example, what I've seen on embedding security in giga projects, what I've seen in Aula. If you go into, there's a place called Old Town, which is one of the interested, visiting areas. One of the number one, there are of course others. And you will find the public safety hub. The hub is positioned to ensure that visitor or even the resident experience is actually fulfilled. It is a key touch point on their journey. So that is a simplistic way, what we call embedded innovation, by simply developing your operating model. So the security operating model is not only focused on technology innovation, but really process. It's about culture. It's about ensuring what does the visitor need. That visitor or resident journey, are we geared to ensure, it meets that satisfaction levels and increase the experience? So this is where I say that it really break the ice of innovation. The key takeaway for me here is innovation should be cultural. In such projects, it should be cultural. And embedding in innovation rests on a simple but often overlooked principle: leadership and governance first, then technical exercises second. And I also call this doing the right things right.
I have to say that sort of leads me nicely into my next question, because regional mega projects are increasingly expected to set global benchmarks for safety, resilience and technological integration. What insights from Alula's public safety model do you believe will resonate most with the Intersec audience as examples of world-class practice?
A key lesson I learned for over 30 years in industry: be purpose-driven, but don't push a security agenda. But in this case, don't push a public safety agenda. Business or mission first. The public safety agenda second. That, I would say, is the objective-led principle. I remember during my time at Qatar Museums in Doha, we were preparing for the World Cup 2022. And the chairman of the organization just said a few things. And she said, what I've observed, when our visitors enters the country, the first point, the touch point, is the airport. And they go through rigorous screening. And then they come to visit our museums and events. What I do not want is them to go through the same hurdle. That is what I say is, on giga projects, the number one thing is setting or defining the security philosophy. That is a key lesson. So from that message, we actually defined the security philosophy, which is creating an open, friendly environment that is safe while still complying with the MOI regulations, because the MOI at that stage needed to have certain things, because it is a giga project to have the World Cup, in that country, and they have a lot. So then I want to start here. When you have to talk about world-class or best practice when it comes to public safety, define your philosophy. The second, I offer 3 key learnings, 3 key lessons. And I divided in what I called the 3 golden principles of public safety for giga projects. Number 1, value chain design. So it is really looking at the visitor journey. That is what we call the value chain design, that from that visitor, jump in the plane, wherever that visitor is from, But it also takes into account the human-centric, the residents living in the Giga environment. What are their journeys when they go to a store or go to school and so forth? So because they need to interact. The outcome and a key focus here is, of course, human-centric design. It's also including the visitor-resident journey. The outcome usually is cost efficiencies, value and scalability, and also an environment that is built with integrated public safety solutions. The second is what I called the integrated governance principle. Here, one framework, many partners. Because Giga projects is really complex, as I mentioned earlier. Public safety in Giga projects spans across the ecosystem. So it is not a standalone exercise. So the focus here now is, you heard that words earlier, doing the right things right. Here, it's giving assurance, ensuring that public safety is a trusted system that leadership and the community and visitors can depend on. The third principle is objective-led protection. Because high assurance and low visibility is strategic. It should be embedded in all the decisions of the organization, meaning what the organization wants to achieve with this Giga project. That is key. That third principle is then safeguarding quality of life, because Giga projects in this case is about quality of life, increasing quality of life. Whether it's for the residents or the visitor, getting that experience, it does improve and increase your quality of life. And that's objective-based execution. The outcome there is, of course, a secure environment and increased residents and visitor satisfaction. So I'm going to stop with this, in terms of world-class, public safety. Public safety must be developed through a design thinking approach, meaning it starts where the person that's going to consume or experience, that is what design thinking is. And that's why we created through what we call the personas, to then take that as the way of how to develop our solutions. Because it's not about stopping life. It's about enabling the quality of life, doing the right things right.
I like the way that you put that, and it leads me nicely into really the security innovation requires close coordination between heritage preservation, tourist development, smart infrastructure and emergency services. How do you balance these sometimes competing priorities to ensure both safety, excellence, and a seamless visitor experience?
Very, very valid, because this is where really people and everyone has their agendas. For me, world-class public safety is about integration, not isolation. It's about, you enable the exploration, because people come here to explore whatever they want to see and learn from. So it is not restricting it. What it is called the value chain principle. So to be able to balance the act of the tourism needs, public safety needs, infrastructural needs, there needs to be, without a doubt, a delicate balancing act. So I would say that if security or safety really determine its key stakeholders, what their needs are, that will already start healthy. There's competing needs that you will find that it is really captured in your stakeholder map and an engagement plan. What I've noticed in Alulato, when you see the combination of heritage, tourism, remote area, desert terrain, the systems are designed and integrated to protect people and priceless assets. There's also the application of smart technologies to enable this balancing act. There is something actually missing that I do see, not only here, with also other I would call it culture and heritage environments. The intangible heritage is often overlooked. Local community members carries the ancient stories. They actually have lots of stories to tell. And that's where another balancing act comes in. How do you then integrate the intangible heritage with the physical heritage across this ecosystem so that it works together? So public safety programs only will excel when this integrated ecosystem, including community, comes at play. Again, doing the right things right.
So, what partnerships, technologies, or governance approaches do you see as essential? And so, taking on board what your learning has been, looking into future mega projects and giga projects, seeking to build security systems that are scalable, sustainable, and culturally sensitive. How do we actually arrive at that?
The future of mega projects lies in strong collaboration. It actually falls into this partnership model, what we call the one framework, many partners principle. Private partnerships, compatible technologies, and strong governance are key, of course. Smart cities and smart technologies will continue. I've noticed in my experience the partnerships between institutions do happen. There's some area that it doesn't happen, right? Especially when you want to integrate these technologies, and that is the community. So let me give you the example when I remember I was in the extractive sector. So in the extractive sector, the key focus was for the organization to have a conversation with their government to obtain a license to operate, and then often forget to get the freedom to operate. And I remember having a conversation with my previous employer, oil and gas, and saying, we need to really engage the communities and then get the freedom to operate, because oftenly the government has already a contract with the company, then tell the community of what they would like to achieve, and then try to bring in whatever technologies and work that the organization wants to achieve. And that is the gap. So you can come up with all the smart technologies, which will be here. AI will continue, robotics will continue, we'll all have this. And there are cultural sensitivities that sits within the community. To be successful, you have to then have that conversation, get that freedom to operate, because this giga project is going to deploy cameras all over the city. And to some extent, it actually say infringing on my privacy here. What? You are bringing some technologies and you actually, hang on, what's happening here? Am I now Big Brother? I'm the Big Brother. So for these partnerships to work, there's the collaboration between all of these key stakeholders. Have a conversation of the technology that will improve the quality of life, because there's the key message. And then see how you can then move forward with these smart technologies and creating a smart city that will run on all of these technologies. So a key takeaway for me here is, again, the value of good governance by establishing a unified public safety, a program that aligns with key stakeholders under one framework, doing the right things right.
Malcolm, it's been really good to understand really your thinking. You've got a very clear mind when it comes to the delivery. We need to move to a close now, but very quickly, what would you say to a security professional that might be hovering over the book my ticket to Intersec? Why should he come and listen to the conference and engage really with the exhibition? What's to be learnt there?
There's three things that you will learn when you come to the conference. One, of course, we just ended off with technologies. You will see the latest technologies, AI, drones, you name it, fire as well as security technologies. These are the enablers for your organization. So get to understand what's out there and then go back taking. The second thing is about learning. So you will really learn from all these, let's call it conference sessions that are out there, the learning sessions, leadership sessions. There you will get the experience transferred from peers like yourself and sharing what worked and what didn't work. So you walk away with that, knowledge and so forth. The third, most importantly, is you will increase your network. So you cannot walk away there without having at least, whether it's a digital business card or a physical business card, someone that you connect with, that you can create, a long-term professional relationship, potentially a mentor, potentially you could be a mentor to someone else. So that's where the networking starts. So there's three things that I foresee joining the Intersect, that you can walk away with that wealth.
Malcolm, it's been wonderful to speak to you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy career to speak to the audience here at Security On Screen. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dida. All the best.